Welcome to the Maasto Fitness podcast. Today, in episode 23, we are going to talk about navigating the mental challenges of race season. So, kind of building off of last week. And this is the Maasto Fitness podcast. And it's a quick hit podcast where we keep them short and to the point, focusing on the things you can do off the bike to race faster and safer. At Maasto Fitness, we work with racers remotely in the real world who don't have a lot of time to train on or off the bike. So we take the training they can do off the bike, make it quick, efficient, and work for them so the days on the bike, whether riding or racing, are faster and safer. Now, like I said, we are talking about navigating the mental challenges of race season. And I feel like this is a really important one now. This is July 2024. So you're probably deep in your race season. Things are definitely getting tough in terms of physical, mental time, all of that. And so I think it's a good time to just kind of help navigate the mental side and help you kind of maybe understand how you're feeling or when to push and when to hold back so that you're able to complete a whole season healthy, fresh, and feeling like you want to do it every time and not making it feel like it's a job. So let's go ahead and roll right into it. The first thing I think that's important to just bring up and discuss is um, on the mental side of racing, it's very mentally demanding. It takes of a lot of brain space when you're out there riding and racing. You can't do anything else. You've got to be deep in focusing what you're doing. So above all, we want you to feel fresh, to feel like you want to do it, and be able to put all your energy towards it. Because when we're not able to, and we're not feeling fresh, or feeling burnt out a little bit, we're not going to be giving it our all, and we're going to increase our chances of crashing, injury, not riding well. All those will not help the mental state, will not help us through our race season. So let's go ahead and dig right into it. So first, how do we identify mental fatigue? There's a couple ways we can do it. First would honestly be how you're feeling. Like when you're not feeling up to riding, race day doesn't sound exciting. When you know you've got to do X, Y, Z to get to race day, work on the bike, pack the rig up, make sure everything's ready, and you're not feeling that, that's a good sign that you've got mental fatigue. Now, there's physical fatigue. That's different. That's, muscles feeling sore, muscles feeling tired, maybe feeling like you're out of breath really easy. Those are all signs of physical fatigue. But for mental fatigue, it's more of like just not really wanting to do it, not feeling into it, not feeling like it's something that sounds fun or that you want to do. And if you were just to compare, if you're kind of think of experiences in your life where you're feeling mentally fatigued, kind of that burnout feeling, think about it when it was fresh and really enjoyable. So maybe if you're starting to feel a little fatigued now, mentally mid-season, think about how you felt early in the spring when you're prepping everything and getting the rig ready and getting the bike ready and heading to the track and how excited you were. If you're not feeling those things right now, those could all be signs of mental fatigue. So I think first it's important to just look at your overall program and what you're doing when you start to feel mentally fatigued. So kind of like looking through a big lens here and seeing, am I giving myself enough recovery? Am I eating the right things? Am I balancing my dirt bike time with non-dirt bike time? And by that I mean like, are you just focused on racing 24/7? It's all you can think about, or do you have other things in life you enjoy that help keep balance? A good way to get burned out on something is to go all in all the time, 24/7. So if you're just dirt bikes 24/7, you're thinking about it all the time, doing stuff 24/7, that might increase your chances of burnout. So making sure you have other things you enjoy or hobbies or something that you do with your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever family it may be, that aren't dirt bike related. So then when you're on the dirt bike, it means that much more and it's something that you really look forward to doing. I know for me, right, this year, for example, I'm racing a race season that goes from April to November. So for me, that's a pretty long season and it's only 8 or 9 rounds, but that's a long time spread out. I've never personally really ridden into November. Usually my race season ends early October and starts a little bit later, also in the spring. So this is the longest race season I've had. And I know for me, I'm definitely an all-in type guy, and I need to make sure to keep some balance because there's some time between rounds. I need to keep up on fitness, making sure I feel good on the bike, making sure everything's good with the bike. But I don't want to go all in all the time. I need to make sure I've got days where My wife and daughter, we do other things. We go on the beach, hang out on the water, whatever it may be, non-dirt bike related things. I know it's going to keep me fresh because if I try to just do it 24/7, by the time I get to November, I'm going to burn out. And I know just with a season that long in general, it's a big part of the game. And I want to make sure that I'm able to mentally and physically show up for every round. So making sure that you're just not going way too far in, way too deep all the time. Good way to help keep you mentally fresh. And like I was talking about, the difference between mental fatigue and physical fatigue. Make sure you think about mental fatigue. So not so much sore muscles, tired muscles. Those could all be nutrition related, fueling related, making sure that you've got a balanced training, you're recovering right. But the mental side is just like you just don't look forward to it. It's not something you want to do. And we all know there's times in racing and training where we've just got to get it done. Maybe if we're not really feeling into it. But if it's just like that day after day after day, you might be focused, you might be experiencing some mental fatigue and a little bit of burnout. So the first thing to do, if you start to feel really burnt out and not into it, I would say just take a step back and recover for a little bit. This could be a couple days, it could be a week. But when we're racing a long season, if you're really not into it, just take a week completely off. I'm blanking on his name right now. He just raced his last season of Supercross, but I heard him say over the winter actually that between rounds he was already so burnt out, and he'd been a pro for a long time. I can't believe his name is escaping me right now, but he'd been a pro for such a long time, and doing his last Supercross season that he was feeling, just kind of like so over it between rounds. He wasn't even riding because it just didn't sound fun to him anymore, and it didn't seem enjoyable. So, that's a good example of someone just kind of doing what they had to do to get to their season. The difference is he's getting paid, it's his career. For us, it's a hobby. So it's important to make sure to keep it fun because this is something for pretty much anyone probably listening to this. You don't make a living doing it, you do it as enjoyment. And with that, we want to make sure that you're able to enjoy it when you're on the bike. So taking a little bit of a break, a couple of days off, maybe a week off mid-season if you're feeling a little burnout, to just give yourself some mental recovery from the riding, the racing, the training. Definitely good for you when you're thinking of the long term of the season, especially it's only July right now. Got months to go. We don't want anyone to burn out. We want everyone to be healthy. So take a little break if needed. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's important to know that a lot of professional athletes do this. We just don't know about it. It's not stuff they're going to really hear, they're going to tell us about, or you're going to see them posting on Instagram. But lots and lots of professional athletes need to take breaks. Their breaks are maybe a little more scheduled, but they're taking complete breaks from what they do for periods during the year and not doing it all. And that's one reason they're able to be professional athletes year after year after year and continue to perform because of those breaks. So if you're feeling a little burnout, don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you're doing everything wrong. Sometimes taking a little step back will help you continue on a positive path with your racing, your training, and the sport in general. Now, another one is, and this kind of goes back to the beginning of the season, is setting realistic goals. So, SMART goals, the acronym SMART, that's setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So, having a plan of action of how you're going to reach your goals and what you're going to do can help reduce the chances of that burnout or feeling like you need a break because you kind of got steps in place of what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and why you're going to do it. And now, while it's important to have those goals, something we're really big on in Maasto Fitness, we also need to be adjustable with those goals and, understand that sometimes things don't always go the way we want and we need to adjust. And that's a big one for just helping our mental state and not only our physical state, but the mental side. Um, Being able to adjust what you planned in your mind and understanding it's okay is going to once again help keep you healthy, help get you through this season. I know probably many of you know a lot of racers, if you kind of look at maybe the class you race or the series you race, they kind of will start to dwindle off towards the end of the year. And there's a million different reasons why they can. But I do think one of the bigger ones that I see and just hear from talking to people at races is they just get burnt out. And I think it's because they're not setting these SMART goals and then they're not adjusting their goals as the year goes on. It's like they can't get what they wanted, they can't do it how they wanted, so they just give up. And I don't think that's the best way to go about it. I think we can adjust and make sure we're doing everything for ourselves and then have a good season. So Make sure that you've just got realistic goals and you're okay with being flexible with them because that's going to help keep us in the mental state we want. Uh, Now, on top of that, there's the nutrition side, which I kind of touched on this last week. But a good way to get burned out or not feel into it is just by not nourishing your body the way you're supposed to. So making sure you're eating a balanced diet, you're eating lots of color, lots of variety, and then getting the nutrients you need through food, staying hydrated, getting rest. Those are all a big one in helping support the mental health. So reduce the chance of burnout by giving your body the best fuel. Simple as that. You can think about if you've ever had poor gas in anything from a piece of yard equipment to your motorcycle versus fresh premium ethanol free gas or race gas, there's a pretty big difference on how that stuff runs in these motors. And same deal with our body. Our body thrives off of the correct high quality fuel. So make sure you're putting in the best quality fuel because that's really going to help the mental side. It's something that we can really control, eating quality food. I'm not talking about like having to eat organic or eat like crazy stuff. I'm just talking about eating a very diverse diet, fats, proteins, carbohydrates, lots of color. So that means all different types of fruits and vegetables, making sure you're eating real food, not a lot of processed stuff. That's really going to help as well. Not only on the physical side, but the mental side, like we're focusing on today. Now, making sure that when you do need to take a break, or if you do need to take a break, you don't want to feel guilty. There's going to be long-term benefits with keeping you healthy and riding more in race season. Now, I know it's weird to talk about this subject because all of us are like, go, 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 go. We got to do this. I've got these goals. I'm going to do this. We're motorcycle racers, pretty tough in general, can deal with a lot of adversity and a lot of things mentally and physically. But when we're talking about really your long-term mental health with the sport, sometimes a break is okay. And it's going to get you through the season, and have you finishing out mentally and physically healthy, which is what we want above all. So don't feel guilty if you need to take a break. Just make sure you can recognize when your body needs a break, or excuse me, when your mind needs a break, and take that break without guilt. Especially if you're racing a long season. I just cannot stress this enough. I see so many people not make it through the season because they burn themselves out too early. And when you're playing the long game, I think that's more important than anything. It's just as much mental as it is physical. So while I am a health and performance coach who focuses on the physical side, the aerobic training, strength training, flexibility, mobility, and with some nutrition and hydration stuff as well. But the mental side is huge, and you need to make sure you have the correct tools in place, and you need to make sure that you understand your body and your needs. So that's it for today. At Maasto Fitness, we build strength training, mobility training, flexibility training, and endurance training for racers. Plus, we've got tons of hydration, nutrition resources, monthly group coaching call, all tons of resources for racers, different levels of programs. And if you want to give one a try, send me a message, Maasto Fitness on Instagram, and I'll hook you up with a free week. That's it for this week, guys. See you later.